The president and the porn star has been a story since last Friday, and I have not said a word about it because there are so many more important stories that we have to cover. Now, this is the very first copy of In Touch magazine that I have ever held in my hands. And I've learned a lot from this magazine. There's a lot more in here than what's on the cover, including a lot of stuff that I don't have time to read, like everything you could possibly want to know about everyone and anyone named Kardashian. And there are some quick read items like, are they going overboard with lip plumping? I actually didn't have to read that one to get the right answer, which of course is yes. And there's some really nice human interest stories like the couple that lost 470 pounds together. And there's a story about someone else in the magazine whose doctor would like him to lose some weight. This guy, that's one of the pictures of him that appears in the cover story about the President of the United States and the porn star. On the cover of the magazine, the headline is "My Affair with Donald," and it promises you the details inside the magazine about, quote, secret hotel hookups, how they hid it from Melania, and the cover asks, will the First Lady file for divorce? And I did not have to read the article to get that answer right, too, which is no. Here is how the cover story is presented inside the magazine. In her own words, Stormy Daniels, Donald cheated on Melania with me. In an explosive interview with In Touch, a woman from Donald Trump's past spills her secrets of their affair. And that is all I have had the time to read in this article about Donald Trump having an affair with a porn star 4 months after his third wife gave birth to his fifth child, 10 years before he ran for president. Okay, I actually did read one more thing in the article. It's the big pull quote in the middle of the article. It's Stormy Daniels talking about her first date with Donald Trump. She says, I was definitely stimulated. I could tell he was nice. Intelligent in conversation. Intelligent in conversation. That is actually the article's only direct contribution to the current controversy surrounding the president's mental capacities. So that's a bit of good news. The president was able to pass the porn star intelligence test 10 years ago. We didn't know that until today, but that's it. That's all I had time for in this story. The first time in history the president of the United States is on the cover of a magazine with a porn star in a story about them having an affair and the president paying the porn star $130,000 to buy her silence in the Trump White House. That is just another day at the office. And the White House press secretary today was not asked a single question about the porn star and the president, not one question. There is no clearer measure of how much Donald Trump has changed the presidency and how much Donald Trump has changed the White House press corps and the news media in America. But he hasn't changed the news media the way he wants to change the news media. He has not bent the news media to his will. He has not beaten them down to the point where no one in the White House press corps dared to ask about the president and the porn star today. He has simply changed the news media's ability to focus on the president and the porn star story by creating so many more important stories about his presidency, more urgent stories, including so many more negative stories about his presidency. Stories like his racist attack on all 54 countries in Africa. Stories like the Trump White House chief of staff who decided that the right thing for him to do today would be to side with Joseph Stalin and Donald Trump against Republican Senator Jeff Flake, who compared Donald Trump to Joseph Stalin on the floor of the United States Senate. Talk about Senate history. That's the first time a senator has compared the President of the United States to Joseph Stalin. And we're also covering stories like the president's former White House chief strategist deciding to cooperate with the special prosecutor investigating the Trump White House. That is a more important story. than the president and the porn star. NBC News reports that a source close to Steve Bannon's legal team says that he is cooperating with Special Prosecutor Robert Mueller and will be interviewed by the Special Prosecutor's team of investigators instead of being subpoenaed to testify to a grand jury. Sources indicated that it is still undecided exactly when that interview will take place. The source also tells NBC News that during Bannon's appearance before the House Intelligence Committee yesterday, roughly 6 hours were spent on questions related to the campaign, and another roughly 5 hours were spent on questions related to the transition and Bannon's time at the White House. The Associated Press has new details about that. Steve Bannon's attorney relayed questions in real time to the White House during a House Intelligence Committee interview of the former Trump chief strategist. That's according to people familiar with the closed-door session. The Associated Press continues. Bannon's attorney, Bill Burke, was asking the White House counsel's office by phone whether his client could answer the questions. He was told by that office not to discuss his work on the transition or in the White House. It's unclear who Burke communicated with or whether it was top White House lawyer Don McGahn. Burke is also representing Don McGahn in the special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation. Tonight, White House Chief of Staff John Kelly said this.
Did the White House tell him to invoke executive privilege?
No.
No.
Steve has had very, very little contact with the White House since he left. I know Steve a little bit, not very well. He left the White House and has certainly never returned to the White House, and with the exception of a few phone calls here and there, very, very little contact with the White House. And I certainly have never spoken to him since he left.
And here's what Congressman Adam Schiff, the ranking Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee, just said to Rachel about this.
They send General Kelly out today to say, we haven't invoked executive privilege. Technically, that's true. What they have done, which is more problematic, is telling witnesses, don't answer the questions, but also don't tell the committee that we've invoked executive privilege. We don't want to look like we're hiding something by invoking privilege, but we don't want you to answer the questions, so don't answer them. If we allow this, it will not only obviously impair our ability to get to the truth, it will impair the ability of any Congress in the future to hold any administration accountable if we will simply take no for an answer when it's convenient to the White House.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.